and getting stronger every day by focusing on the things that will help me heal.
Nostradamus is known by the things in which he prophesies that come to pass, the things that are in the future.
French astrologer Nostradamus' original name was Michel de Nostradamus. He is known for his book Les Prophéties, which is a collection of 942 poetic quatrains believed to be about future events. He has been given credit for correctly predicting the rise of Napoleon, the bombing of Hiroshima, and the death of Queen Elizabeth II. He also foretold difficult times for Kate Middleton that might shock the world. What happened to Kate? French astrologer's prophecy made centuries ago is going viral amid the announcement by Kate Middleton, Britain's Princess of Wales, that she faced health problem. A prophecy by the 15th century prophet Nostradamus is resurfacing amid the current events involving Kate Middleton, that Kate will face significant hurdles. Although he passed away centuries ago, his prophecies have continued to captivate future generations over the years. And nowadays, people talk about his prediction about Kate Middleton. The predictions of a modern-day Nostradamus, Athos Salome, are also gaining attention in light of recent revelations about Kate Middleton's health concerns. The Princess of Wales recently revealed she is battling cancer after initially undergoing surgery for what was believed to be a non-cancerous issue. The Brazilian mystic, who claimed to have foreseen major events such as the onset of the coronavirus pandemic and Elon Musk's purchase of X, as known as Twitter, claimed that Princess Kate will be dealing with bone, knee, leg, and joint issues in the upcoming year. The mystic, however, claimed that the princess's primary challenge lies in her future role as a royal. A user wrote on X, which translated in English as, "The prophecy of Nostradamus is fulfilled. Kate Middleton has cancer. The British crown must give the throne to Prince Harry, because William no longer meets the requirements to be the King of England." He has claimed that embattled Princess of Wales will have a mountain to climb from now. Before that, hinted recently at the possibility of World War III. He said, "The challenges reported are whether she will indeed be ready to take on the crown. The months of March, June, September, and December are part of her life, as is the year 2025. For there is a significant contention between the brothers about who will replace the father on necessary occasions. Everything is already written in Kate's life, so it is essential that she takes care of her mental health and also her bones. The structure and responsibility weigh not only on the mind, but also on her bones. Although they will never confirm the fact, she indeed has this problem." He said the countdown to 2025 has begun, prompting the princess to focus on her health and continue fighting for her well-being. He added, "In 2025, people around the world eagerly await to see how the Princess of Wales overcomes challenges and shows resilience in embracing the responsibilities and opportunities that await her." Salome claims that he can delve into the depths of the mind to unveil truths and perspectives beyond common understanding. He describes what he does as not simply fortune-telling, but rather a profound and intuitive understanding of information that is, as of yet, inaccessible. It's very unfortunate she is ill. Let's all pray for her. Faith and prayers are the most powerful healers. God is a God of miracles. Nothing is impossible with God. Did Nostradamus predict Diana's death? Not only about Kate, but Nostradamus had also forecasted difficult times for British monarchs. The 15th century prophet Nostradamus had predicted troubled times for the monarchy. Let's start with the prophecy about Kate's mother-in-law. Mentioning Kate, many people will remember her late mother-in-law, Princess Diana, because they share quite a few similarities in terms of demeanor, personality, and kindness. From their fashion choices and approach to royal life to their hands-on parenting, Kate and Diana have much in common, despite the fact their paths never crossed. And while Diana's love for her sons William and Harry was clear to see, she desperately wanted a daughter, according to former royal butler Paul Burrell, who was also her close friend. You know, Nostradamus made quite a few prophecies about the British royal family, which we will explore shortly. But the question here is whether Nostradamus predicted Princess Diana's death. He might have. After carefully reading Erica Cheatham's 1973 translation of Nostradamus' prophecies, we found 4 that could be attributed to Diana and 1 that could refer to Prince Charles. I say could because Nostradamus' prophecies, just like your daily horoscope, are written in such a way that the truth relies upon how one interprets each prediction. Now, I listed the quatrains in the order in which they appear in Cheatham's book, and as I said above, the translations are hers. The interpretations, however, are one author's perspective. Read them and judge for yourself whether Nostradamus, a 16th century Franco-Jewish mystic, actually predicted the tragic death of Diana, Princess of Wales, more than 400 years before she was born. Oh, to what a dreadful and wretched torment! Are 3 innocent people going to be delivered? Poison suggested, badly guarded, betrayal, delivered up to horror by drunken executioners. This is not the best one. It takes a bit of twisting and fudging to make the prediction work. A car wreck at high speed is certainly a dreadful and wretched way to die. The 3 innocents are, of course, Diana, Dodi, and the driver, Henri Paul. Diana was badly guarded, certainly betrayed by Prince Charles, and her heart poisoned by his adulterous affair with Camilla Parker Bowles. The rose upon the middle of the world, because of new deeds, public blood is shed. To speak the truth, they will have closed mouths. Then, at a time of need, the awaited one will come late. One of the better ones. Diana was England's rose. Her blood was shed publicly, witnessed by casual bystanders and paparazzi alike. The new deeds refer to her love affair with an Arab which tweaked the sensibilities of the royals. The 3rd line refers to the fact that Henri Paul kept his mouth shut instead of telling Dodi he was too drunk to drive. The last line speaks of the 2 hours Diana spent injured and bleeding in the car before she was taken to the hospital. By the great number of tears shed, from top to bottom and from the bottom to the very top. A life is lost through a game with too much faith, to die of thirst through a great deficiency. Another good one. The first 2 lines refer to the outpouring of grief over her death, and how that sorrow was felt from the upper to lower classes. The game in the 3rd line alludes to Dodis's penchant for making a game of eluding the paparazzi at high speeds. Unfortunately, they had too much faith in driver Henri Paul. The last line is an archaic way of describing death by drunkenness. For the joyful maiden, the bright splendor will shine no more. For a long time, she will lack salt. With merchants, bullies, odious wolves, all confusion, the universal monster. The first line is self-explanatory. In the second, to lack salt means to lack wisdom or experience, which fits the 19-year-old Diana when she married Charles. The 3rd line refers to her various loves: merchant, Dodi, bully, Charles, and her constantly being stalked by the paparazzi, wolves. The last line alludes to her low self-esteem, longing for true love, and the general turmoil surrounding her life. And finally, here is a quatrain I found that could very well refer to Prince Charles, the heir to the throne, and what may happen should he become king. Quite a different man will attain to the great empire, distant from kindness, more so from happiness. Ruled by one not long come from his bed, the kingdom rushes to great misfortune. Charles has been described by many as cold, distant, and unhappy. The 3rd line, not long come from his bed, is an archaic way of describing an adulteress. It might be Camilla. The last line foresees bad times. For the British monarchy, should Charles become king while still maintaining his affair with Camilla. Setting aside what Nostradamus predicted, it seems that Princess Diana herself foresaw her own passing. Written with chilling foresight just 10 months before her untimely death in a Paris car wreck, Diana put her fears that she was the target of a sinister death plot down on paper as insurance for the future. Frightened and lonely, Diana knew the letter would never be taken seriously while she was alive. But filled with foreboding, she was determined to fight back against the Buckingham Palace machine she believed had been trying to silence her ever since her highly publicized breakup with Charles. The following is a look back at the eerie predictions the late princess made in 1996 in the run-up to that unforgettably dire day in the late summer of 1997. The former Princess of Wales wrote, "I am sitting here at my desk today in October, longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. I have been battered, bruised, and abused mentally by a system for 15 years now, but I feel no resentment. I carry no hatred. I am weary of the battles, but I will never surrender. I am strong inside, and maybe that is a problem for my enemies." The handwritten letter, the most compelling document suggesting the princess's death, was no accident and was handed to her trusted butler, Paul Burrell, for safekeeping. "I'm going to date this and I want you to keep it, just in case," she wrote to Burrell. At the time Diana penned the letter, 2 months after her 1996 divorce from Charles was finalized, Burrell claimed she was racked by anxiety and believed someone had bugged her apartments in Kensington Palace. She feared the royal family's loyalists believed that as long as she was on the scene, she was a loose cannon poised to reveal the family's deepest secrets. Diana was enjoying huge public support, but she had an overpowering feeling that she was in the way of shadowy plans hatched by palace insiders. "I have become strong, and they don't like it when I am able to do good and stand on my own 2 feet without them," she wrote. Diana became so paranoid about her safety, correctly as it turned out, that she persuaded Burrell to help her pull up the floorboards at her home so they could search for hidden listening devices. She fired her official police detail because she didn't trust them, stashed away secret tapes and diaries, and told her intimate circle about her fears. More than a decade after her death, a close friend revealed, Diana was worried she wouldn't see her sons grow up. There was a certain desperation in her manner. She was teaching them to be more normal, to offset the influence of the royal family when she was gone. Although there are quite a few similarities, as I mentioned above, the predicted fates of mother-in-law Diana and daughter-in-law Kate seem quite different. Kate's future and mission for the royal family appear to be brighter, but also more laden with responsibilities compared to her late mother-in-law. However, these are merely predictions, and we need to wait for time to reveal the truth. Prediction of Prince Harry reunion. Nostradamus had also predicted the potential abdication of a king and the rise of an unexpected successor to the throne. Just like the forecast, a similar sequence of events looks like unwinding in the British monarchical authority with King Charles and Prince Harry under the spotlight. In his renowned work, Les Prophéties, Nostradamus seemingly forecasted the monarch's downfall, including potential abdication or forced removal. Nostradamus predicted the potential abdication of a king and the rise of an unexpected successor, which now seems to echo the current situation involving King Charles and Prince Harry. The ancient prophet said the King of the Isles would be driven out by force and would be replaced by one who will have no mark of a king. Before that, he accurately predicted Queen Elizabeth II's passing at around the age of 96, a prophecy that aligned with Buckingham Palace's announcement of King Charles III's diagnosis following his mother's demise in 2022. However, the question of how Prince Harry, who has shown little interest in royal duties, would end up as king remains unanswered. The royal family has faced its fair share of scandals in recent years. However, the one that garnered the most headlines and caused papers and tabloids across the world to go nuts was Prince Harry's exit from the royal family and the fallout thereafter. Despite his decision to pull back from his familial duties, many wonder if Prince Harry could still rule as king. As is his birthright, otherwise known as birthright privilege, Prince Harry is fifth in line for the throne. In the instance of Charles's death, Prince William, Charles's firstborn son, is next in line for the throne. If something were to happen to William, Harry still wouldn't be next in line, as that would be William's firstborn Prince George, then Princess Charlotte, and finally, Prince Louis. If William were to abdicate, which is highly unlikely, and George was still under 18, then it's a different question. The role of regent means a person who governs a kingdom in the minority, absence, or disability of the sovereign would then perhaps go to Harry until George was old enough to take on his royal duties. Nostradamus predicting Harry would become his successor seems unlikely, but we will never know what will happen after it actually happens. The world should be prepared for a new royal baby and a possible family reunion, according to Gal Eden Sasson, an astrologer. Those are his predictions for the royal family in 2024. This year brings a plethora of retrogrades and some potentially life-disrupting eclipses for everybody, and this includes members of the royal family. Harry's chart is moving into the house of money, talent, and self-worth. It's also going to move into his house of community, marketing, and sales, Mr. Sasson said. As well as having success in his ventures in the new year, the astrology expert also forecasts that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle could have a third child when Jupiter moves into his house. Gall, author of The Astrology of 2023, Traversing the Bridge. Movement of the People said Jupiter has been in Harry's house and family for the last year, for the first time in the river 80 years, which is the planet of unpredictable, crazy energy. After that, there will most likely be a reunion of the royal brothers. The reunion, or patching up, could be between the two brothers, who have become somewhat estranged in recent times. Sasson said Prince William, a Sagittarius Capricorn, was born during a new moon and close to a solar eclipse, which is a pretty powerful sign for a ruler, but it is likely he will be a late bloomer and things will take time for him. But is this reunion possible? When the king announced that he had cancer, the Duke of Sussex, who withdrew from his role as a senior member of the British royal family, along with Meghan Markle, flew back to England to visit the king. It is known that Harry is also ready to return to temporary missions to support King Charles. However, Prince of Wales, William, who is angered by his younger brother's repeated attacks on the monarchy, is expected to block any attempt by Harry to return to the royal family. Sources close to William say that after King Charles III was diagnosed with cancer, William would take on more duties himself if necessary. The Prince of Wales also thinks Harry and Meghan cannot be trusted. A source close to the matter said it was unlikely William would allow his younger brother to return to royal duties. Whatever was discussed between William and the king was private, but it's clear William won't allow Harry back. William used to think it was a bad idea, and now he's even more clear with that in mind. If anyone is going to take on more duties, it will be William. His focus is on his father's health, his family, and what's best for the monarchy. 0%. It's possible that Harry will return in any capacity, the source said. Previously, in his autobiography Spare, Harry criticized his family, accusing his brother of pushing him into a dog bowl in a fit of rage. He also directed his attacks at his stepmother, Queen Camilla, and sister-in-law, the Princess of Wales. Last year, a book by Omid Scobie, said to be Harry and Meghan's spokesman, sparked controversy over allegations of racism within the British royal family. The two royals are said to have discussed the skin color of the Sussex's son. King Charles believes building bridges with Harry and Meghan will benefit the monarchy, but believes any official role for the Duke of Sussex would be a step backwards. In 2020, when the Sussexes left the royal family to seek financial freedom, the late Queen Elizabeth II refused their request to both perform duties on behalf of the monarchy and be allowed to pursue commercial interests. The British royal family at that time came to an agreement that allowed the Sussexes to seek a new life outside the home, but prohibited them from declaring themselves princes or taking advantage of royal connections for commercial gain. From the above information, do you think it is possible for Harry to reunite with the royal family? The answer is maybe no. The prediction does not stop there. In the famous analysis of what 2024 has in store for the royal family, a celebrity psychic, Inbal Honigman, shocked the whole world while revealing this prediction. Inbal said that the king is feeling remorseful, plus why Prince Harry wants to put the past behind him as he prepares to extend a peace offering. With the help of tarot, the psychic adds that Prince Harry's wife, Meghan, won't shy away from new challenges to establish herself in a creative career. Following Inbal's prophecy, Prince Harry wants to put the past behind him and will extend peace offerings. A happy year beckons for Prince Harry as a spread of exciting and colorful tarot cards promise joy and creativity. The Happy 10 of Cups tarot card says that the Duke of Sussex is in a peaceful frame of mind as he steps into the new year, and his optimism comes from being surrounded by friends and family members who can see his commitment to doing what's right for his nearest and dearest. An unusual card called Art comes up for his 2024, and this is an indication that he'll be involved in new creative endeavors this year and will try his hand at some new ways of expressing himself, such as TV presenting or even production. A major tarot card indicating transformation shows that he's willing to put the past in the past. He'll do what he can to extend peace offerings toward those whom he hurt in the past. Happy as he is with his current life, he'd be quick to agree to a fresh start if his family were to benefit from it. Now comes the royal family's most controversial daughter-in-law. Meghan Markle won't shy away from new challenges and wants to establish herself in a creative career. Meghan's tarot cards for the year ahead are red hot and fiery, indicating an active and entertaining 2024. The Strength card, which is associated with the sign of Leo, Meghan's sign, comes up for her year. It says that she won't shy away from new challenges, and she'll embrace new projects that will be offered to her. The Tower card represents house moves and new beginnings, and it indicates the Duchess's desire to establish herself in an arena where she can find better opportunities for her creative career. It also shows that the actress will take an interest in the property. Her overall emotion in 2024 is indicated by the joyful 10 of Cups. This card says that no matter where she is or what she has, she'll be happy with her family around her and her man by her side. King Charles's future. On February 6, 1952, when he was just 3 years old, the then Prince Charles inherited the heir-apparent title on the accession of Queen Elizabeth II, and would go on to be first in line to the throne for 7 decades. It made him the longest-serving British heir-apparent, breaking Edward VII's 59-year record. Following the Queen's death on September 8, 2022, he inherited the throne and was crowned king at his coronation on May 6, 2023, at Westminster Abbey, alongside Camilla, Queen Consort. In February 2024, it was announced that King Charles has been diagnosed with an unspecified type of cancer and has started treatment. Despite the Prime Minister telling that the cancer was caught early, there has been much speculation surrounding the King's health status and what this may potentially mean for the line of succession to the British throne. His eldest son, William, is now his heir. The line of succession after him is as follows: Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis, Prince Harry, Prince Archie, Princess Lilibet, Prince Andrew, and Princess Beatrice. In 2013, Queen Elizabeth II gave royal assent to the succession to the Crown Act, meaning that both sons and daughters of any future UK monarch would have an equal right to the throne. The late monarch was only able to ascend the throne herself because her father had 2 daughters and no sons. But it seems like something isn't going to happen according to common sense. Nostradamus, who correctly predicted the death of Queen Elizabeth II, the bombing of Hiroshima, and the rise of Napoleon, foretold difficult times for the monarchy in 2024. Now, Nostradamus's predictions resurface amid King Charles's health concerns. Recent speculation has surfaced regarding predictions made by 16th century astrologer Nostradamus, suggesting a tumultuous future for Britain's King Charles in 2024 after his cancer diagnosis, which was discovered when he was undergoing treatment for an enlarged prostate. Royal observers speculated that King Charles might step down, either voluntarily or due to pressure related to his health. The revelation of King Charles's cancer diagnosis has left many questions unanswered, with Buckingham Palace withholding details regarding the cancer type and stage. This lack of transparency has fueled both concern and speculation about the monarch's health and the potential implications for the British monarchy. In his renowned work, Les Prophéties, Nostradamus seemingly forecasted the monarch's downfall, including potential abdication or forced removal. Nostradamus predicted the potential abdication of a king and the rise of an unexpected successor, which now seems to echo the current situation involving King Charles and Prince Harry. The ancient prophet said the King of the Isles would be driven out by force and would be replaced by one who will have no mark of a king. Before that, he accurately predicted Queen Elizabeth II's passing at around the age of 96, a prophecy that aligned with Buckingham Palace's announcement of King Charles III's diagnosis following his mother's demise in 2022. The revelation of King Charles's cancer diagnosis has left many questions unanswered, with Buckingham Palace withholding details regarding the cancer type and stage. This lack of transparency has fueled both concern and speculation about the monarch's health and the potential implications for the British monarchy. The Buckingham Palace statement read, "During the King's recent hospital procedure for benign prostate enlargement, a separate issue of concern was noted. Subsequent diagnostic tests have identified a form of cancer. His Majesty has today commenced a schedule of regular treatments, during which time he has been advised by doctors to postpone public-facing duties. Throughout this period, His Majesty will continue to undertake state business and official paperwork as usual." Prince William predicted to never be king by famous French astrologer almost 500 years ago. It's Nostradamus' prophecy about an unexpected man replacing the King Charles, only a few years after his coronation. The preamble is that Queen Elizabeth II will die, circa 2022, at the age of around 96, 5 years short of her mother's term of life. Prince Charles will be 74 years old in 2022 when he takes over the throne, but the resentments held against him by a certain proportion of the British population following his divorce from Diana, Princess of Wales, still persist. There is "a man will replace him who never expected to be king." Does that mean that Prince William, who would have expected to succeed his father, is no longer in the picture? With William not being able to take over the throne, it is predicted that Prince Harry, by process of default, becomes king in his stead. That would make him King Henry IX, aged just 38. As talk turns to King Charles III's cancer diagnosis and a potential shift in royal duties, some are wondering about the order of succession and who else is in line for the throne. And by that we mean, is Prince Harry still eligible to become king now that he's stepped down from being a senior working member of the royal family? And the answer, possibly surprisingly, is still yes, despite the Duke of Sussex having made it very clear that he's keen to distance himself from royal protocols and press intrusion, which would likely only ramp up further if he were to become king. At present, Harry is fifth in line to the throne, and this is a birthright privilege that cannot be revoked without an act of parliament being in place. However, there's a whole myriad of things that would need to happen in order for it to actually reach the stage that Prince Harry is first in line and set to become king, as he, of course, has an older brother, Prince William, who is the current heir to the throne, and who is expected to step up as monarch when King Charles III eventually passes. But this scenario seems difficult to happen. In the event of Prince William's death occurring before King Charles's, Prince Harry would still not be the next choice for king. Instead, that honor would move on to Prince William's eldest son, Prince George. Likewise, if Prince George were unable to fulfill the duty of becoming monarch, Princess Charlotte would take the throne, and failing that, Prince Louis also stands ahead of his Uncle Harry. Currently below Prince Harry in the order of succession are his and Meghan Markle's son, Prince Archie, followed by their daughter, Princess Lilibet. Prince Harry could one day be king, but there'd need to be a lot of unfortunate and premature deaths for that to happen. And even if it did happen, there's no certainty that the present Duke of Sussex would actually want to take on the role. Okay, so this is a trickier one. If Prince William did decide to abdicate, which seems very unlikely, and Prince George was under the age of 18 at the time, then yes, technically Prince Harry or another senior royal, although next in line is technically Prince Andrew. So, who knows, would be called upon to act as regent until Prince George's time came. As for whether or not Harry, or William for that matter, would really do that is another matter.
Nostradamus was one of the most enigmatic and interesting men in history. He was a man of science and intellect, but he was also a man of great mysticism.
Throughout the centuries, Nostradamus's predictions have astonished generations. From political events to natural disasters, Nostradamus seems to have predicted it all. In this video, we will explore the most impactful prophecies of Nostradamus, which according to experts and enthusiasts, could come true in 2025. And this is the top 10 that have most captured the public's attention. Number 10. The World Leader. Nostradamus, the famous astrologer of the 15th century, is known for his prophecies that have predicted important events in human history. One of the most discussed prophecies is the one referring to the arrival of a world leader who will change the course of history. In his quatrain, Nostradamus mentions a great man from the north who will lead with a firm hand, bringing about great changes, both positive and negative. This leader could be interpreted as a political figure who will emerge in 2025, challenging the established order and provoking a radical shift in global dynamics. Specifically, this prophecy has been linked to current political figures who have shown authoritarian tendencies and captured worldwide attention. With presidential elections in several important countries, many believe that Nostradamus may have predicted the emergence of a leader who will alter the balance of power in the world. International tensions and growing political divisions in various nations could provide fertile ground for this great man from the north to take control and lead a new world order. The accuracy with which Nostradamus describes the appearance of this leader has led many to speculate about who it could be. Some point to current leaders who have already demonstrated strong control over their nations, while others believe that this leader has not yet fully emerged on the world stage. What is clear is that this prophecy of Nostradamus remains relevant today, especially in a year as full of expectations as 2025. Experts in Nostradamus's prophecies point out that although his quatrains are often cryptic and open to interpretation. Number 9. Global natural disasters. In Nostradamus's vast collection of prophecies, one of the most feared is the one predicting a series of natural disasters that will shake the world in 2025. According to his writings, these catastrophic events will have a devastating impact on multiple regions, affecting both powerful nations and small communities. Nostradamus describes earthquakes, floods, and storms that will surpass anything humanity has ever experienced before, suggesting that the world is on the brink of an unprecedented environmental crisis. Scholars of Nostradamus have pointed out that his predictions of natural disasters often align with current weather patterns, making this prophecy even more unsettling in a world where climate change is already wreaking havoc. The idea that even more severe natural disasters are looming no longer seems far-fetched. Scientists have repeatedly warned that events like global warming, deforestation, and pollution are exacerbating the frequency and intensity of natural disasters, and Nostradamus's prophecy seems to reflect these contemporary concerns. One of the most common interpretations of this prophecy is that Nostradamus was warning about the cumulative effects of climate change. References to fire in the sky and overflowing rivers could be interpreted as allusions to wildfires and extreme storms, both phenomena that are already occurring more frequently due to climate change. Additionally, the mention of the earth shaking may refer to an increase in seismic activity, something that some experts believe could be related to the extraction of natural resources and other human activities that affect soil stability. It is important to note that while Nostradamus's prophecies are often interpreted symbolically, the connection between his visions and current natural disasters has led to renewed interest in his writings. Some believe that the natural disasters predicted for 2025 will serve as a wake-up call for humanity, a warning that we must change our behavior before it is too late. On the other hand, skeptics argue that Nostradamus's predictions are too vague and can be interpreted in many different ways. Number 8. Social revolutions. Nostradamus, in his writings, predicted a series of social revolutions that will shake the world in the year 2025. According to his prophecies, these revolts will be the result of growing inequality and a population increasingly dissatisfied with social and political conditions. Nostradamus describes a fire that will burn in the heart of cities, which many have interpreted as a premonition of social unrest and revolutionary changes that could redefine the structure of modern societies. Nostradamus's predictions about social revolutions have been the subject of numerous interpretations over the years. However, in the current context, where social and economic inequality continues to grow, these prophecies have taken on new significance. The gap between rich and poor has widened, and racial, gender, and class tensions are reaching boiling points in many parts of the world. This environment is ripe for the type of social revolution that Nostradamus seems to have predicted. A common interpretation of this prophecy is that Nostradamus was anticipating a massive uprising of the population against the ruling elites. References to fire in the heart of cities could be interpreted as riots and protests in large urban areas where inequality is most evident. In recent years, we have seen massive protests erupt in cities worldwide, from Hong Kong to Paris, in response to corruption, oppression, and lack of opportunities. Nostradamus's prophecy could be suggesting that these disturbances will intensify in 2025, leading to significant changes in the social order. Another interpretation suggests that these social revolutions could be driven by technology. Nostradamus mentions a new power that will arise and challenge existing structures, which some interpret as a reference to social media and digital technology. Today, online platforms have proven to be powerful tools for organizing and mobilizing social movements. From the Arab Spring to the Black Lives Matter movement, technology has played a crucial role in amplifying the voices of the oppressed and organizing large-scale protests. This prophecy could be warning of a digital revolution that will change the dynamics of power in the world. However, not everyone is convinced that this prophecy will come true. Skeptics argue that Nostradamus's predictions are too vague and can be applied to almost any situation of social conflict. Number 7. Extreme climate changes. Nostradamus also predicted that the year 2025 could witness extreme climate changes that will alter the natural balance of the planet. In his quatrains, he refers to furious winds and raging seas, which many have interpreted as a warning about storms, hurricanes, and other extreme weather events that could become more frequent and destructive in the coming years. Extreme climate changes are not a new idea, but the frequency and intensity of these events have increased in recent decades. Heat waves, intense storms, and floods are affecting regions worldwide, and scientists warn that climate change is exacerbating these phenomena. Nostradamus's prophecy seems to align with these concerns, suggesting that 2025 could be a turning point where the effects of climate change become even more pronounced. A common interpretation of this prophecy is that Nostradamus was anticipating an increase in the frequency of natural disasters caused by climate change. References to furious winds and raging seas could be interpreted as hurricanes and typhoons devastating coastal regions, while the mention of fire in the sky could refer to wildfires that destroy large areas of forest. These phenomena are already occurring more frequently, and the possibility that they will intensify in the coming years is a real concern. Another possible interpretation is that Nostradamus was predicting broader climate change that will affect the entire planet. The mention of darkened skies has been seen as a reference to pollution and global dimming, a phenomenon that could result from the accumulation of particles in the atmosphere due to the burning of fossil fuels and other pollutants. Number 6. Revelation of ancient secrets. Nostradamus predicted that the year 2025 could witness the revelation of ancient secrets that have remained hidden for centuries. According to his quatrains, these secrets will change our understanding of history and human knowledge, challenging the beliefs and theories we have taken for granted. The mention of buried truths has led many to speculate about the possibility of discovering documents, artifacts, or knowledge that could rewrite history as we know it. A common interpretation of this prophecy is that Nostradamus was anticipating the discovery of ancient texts that have been lost or suppressed over time. These texts could contain advanced knowledge about science, philosophy, or spirituality that has been deliberately hidden for political or religious reasons. With advances in exploration and preservation technology, the possibility of discovering ancient manuscripts in libraries, temples, or tombs is more real than ever. These discoveries could shed new light on past civilizations and change our understanding of history. Another possible interpretation is that Nostradamus was predicting the discovery of ancient artifacts that will challenge our understanding of the past. The mention of objects of power has been seen as a reference to artifacts that could possess unknown properties or advanced technologies that defy our current understanding. Nostradamus's prophecy reminds us that the future is uncertain and that we must be prepared to face any challenge that may arise. Number 5. Large-scale military conflicts. In his quatrains, Nostradamus also predicted the possibility of large-scale military conflicts that could break out in the year 2025. According to his visions, these wars will be devastating and affect multiple nations, pushing the world to the brink of global catastrophe. The mention of fire and blood in the sky has led many to interpret this as a reference to airstrikes and bombings, suggesting that the conflict could involve the world's largest military powers. Analysts of Nostradamus's prophecies have noted that these visions of war could be linked to current geopolitical tensions. In a world where relations between major powers are increasingly strained, the possibility of armed conflict is not far-fetched. Territorial disputes, the arms race, and ideological conflicts could trigger a series of confrontations that could ultimately escalate into a large-scale war. Nostradamus seems to have foreseen a scenario where diplomacy fails and nations turn to violence to resolve their differences. A common interpretation of this prophecy is that Nostradamus was anticipating a conflict between superpowers, possibly involving the United States, China, and Russia. The references to great eagles facing each other have been seen as an allusion to these countries, whose relations have deteriorated in recent years. The possibility that a territorial dispute or a diplomatic misunderstanding could trigger a larger conflict is a real concern in today's geopolitical landscape. Additionally, the mention of fire in the sky could be interpreted as a reference to the use of nuclear weapons, making the conflict even more devastating. Speaking of the world's conflict, Nostradamus might mention World War III. On the other hand, the Frenchman predicted the beginning of a new world war, 79 years after the end of the second one. A confrontation around China is something that many geopolitical experts and journalists have started to see in the changing dynamics and rise of China as a global power. In the past, China has showcased its brute force several times in regions around the South, China Sea, and Taiwan, most of them through its naval ships. Analysts believe this may allude to the escalating conflict in Asia, with China involving NATO countries, potentially leading to a violent military conflict or an all-out war. Nostradamus also predicted something similar to this centuries ago. In one of his quatrains, he wrote about combat and naval battle. He said that the red adversary will become pale with fear, putting the great ocean in dread. Some think that the red adversary could be referring to China. He could well be referring to what happened in Ukraine, the China-Taiwan conflict, or Palestine. Some interpreters point to every earthquake, every political upheaval, and every attack on Israel as a sure sign that the end times are rapidly approaching. While the events may signal the approach of the last days, they are not necessarily indicators that the end times have arrived. The Apostle Paul warned that the last days would bring a marked increase in false teaching. The Spirit clearly says that in later times some will abandon the faith and follow deceiving spirits and things taught by demons. The last days are described as perilous times because of the increasingly evil character of man and people who actively oppose the truth. Throughout Christian history, believers have speculated that the prophesied end times were just about to start. Some audacious ones have even set specific dates. People predicting end times dates usually focus on things like wars, increasing wickedness, and natural disasters. They talk about bad things like the increased fierceness of storms, the surge of killer viruses, severe famines and droughts, and escalating tensions between nations. There is no doubt that world war will be a part of the future. Christ plainly taught that there would be war prior to his return. Jesus foretold, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom." Similarly, Revelation 6:4 foretold a symbolic horseman representing warfare that would take peace away from the earth. To be more specific, the future does hold at least one more world war. There is nothing in Scripture that says there will be only a certain number of world wars. World Wars I and II are not explicitly mentioned in Scripture, nor is a possible third world war. It is only the last war that is mentioned in detail, which allows the interpretation that there may be others before the final conflict. So, although there will be at least one more world war, there is no doubt of the outcome. Righteousness will prevail as Christ, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, defeats all who oppose him. It is also worth mentioning at this time that following the 1,000-year reign of Christ, there will be another uprising which could possibly have the scope of a world war. Satan will be bound for 1,000 years and then released. Upon his release, he leads a rebellion among the peoples of the earth. Christ quickly puts down this rebellion and permanently judges Satan, casting him into the lake of fire as he did with the beast, Antichrist, and the false prophet. Number 4. The coming of the Antichrist. The third Antichrist is here, just as Nostradamus predicted. 5 centuries ago, Nostradamus wrote of 3 Antichrists. 2, Napoleon and Hitler, have already bathed the world in blood, but it is the third who will bring the apocalypse. And his time has come. There are many names mentioned in connection with the Antichrist. People have made a lot of speculations about the identity of this person. It could be a famous person, rich, eloquent, and able to convince people easily. He is suspected of being Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or even King Charles. But we also have no certainty about this person's identity. We only know that that evil person has most likely appeared and is showing off his power. We are living in a time when the battle between the kingdom of God and the kingdom of Satan is heating up as never before. I believe this is because we are nearing the return of Christ and the ultimate destruction of Satan's kingdom. Little children, it is the last hour. And as you have heard, that the Antichrist is coming. Even now, many Antichrists have come, by which we know that it is the last hour. They went out from us, but they were not of us. For if they had been of us, they would have continued with us. But they went out that they might be made manifest, that none of them were of us. But you have an anointing from the Holy One, and you know all things. I have not written to you because you do not know the truth, but because you know it, and that no lie is of the truth. Who is a liar but he who denies that Jesus is the Christ? He is an Antichrist who denies the Father and the Son. Whoever denies the Son does not have the Father either. He who acknowledges the Son has the Father also. Please note that there is not one but many Antichrists. In the course of human history, many Antichrists have appeared and been manifested. Secondly, there is the Antichrist, one specific person. That is the final manifestation, the final product of the spirit of Antichrist, which has not yet been revealed in human history. I believe his shadow has already fallen across the stage, but we have not seen the actual person. But at the end of this age, Scripture makes it clear. There will be one final, supremely evil, supremely powerful ruler who will dominate the human race for a brief period, who will be the Antichrist. The third form is the spirit of the Antichrist. The spirit of the Antichrist is the spirit that operates through every Antichrist. So Antichrist always begins in some way in association with the people of God. But it does not really belong there, and in due course that will be made manifest. That is one mark of the spirit of the Antichrist. A gloomy situation. There's another quatrain that consolidates Nostradamus' reputation as the prophet of destruction. The lyrics state, "For 40 years the rainbow will not be visible. For 40 years it will appear every day. The dry land will dry out more, and there will be big floods." The prophecy is indeed frightening. As the two superpowers have entered a new era of the Cold War, nuclear disasters will happen at any time in the new year. On the other hand, droughts and floods of biblical proportions threaten the planet. Within 2 decades, glaciers in Africa will be gone. More than 100 million poor people are threatened by droughts, floods, or extreme heat, while climate change can reduce the black continent's GDP by 3%. Number 3. Rise of cryptocurrencies. Nostradamus wrote a book with about 1,000 French quatrains divided into ages, most of which are undated prophecies for which he is famous to this day. One of them says, "Copies of gold and silver were inflated. After then, they were thrown into the lake. Everything was exhausted and dissolved by the debt. All scripts and links will be removed." We can understand that the copies of gold and silver are the banknotes, which, according to the prophecy, will lose much of their value because of their inflation and the extremely large debt all over the world. The quatrain has double reading. Nostradamus refers to the rise of cryptocurrencies during the year 2025. Copies of gold and silver can be considered cryptocurrencies that copy the status of precious metals as a reserve asset. And encryption is spreading at the speed of a Formula One racing car. New intangible coins will appear, and investors will flock to their digital world, as known as metaverse. Nostradamus warns about the collapse of fiat money, like coins and banknotes. Let not this prophecy be regarded as an exhortation to the market cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies were invented because banknotes have started and are still losing in value. Let's not forget that cryptocurrencies are wind-blown. They do not represent some constant value, such as gold. The moon at night on top of the high mountain. The young sage with the lonely brain sees it. He is invited by his students to be immortal. Eyes to the south, hands on the torso, bodies on the fire. This enigmatic quatrain is a prediction of artificial intelligence's rise. Number 2. The End Times and the Middle Eastern Antichrist. In Les Prophéties, published in 1555, Nostradamus mentioned 2025 there will be a number of troubles happening globally, including increased conflicts, geopolitical problems, wars at sea, problems with the royal family, and a major humanitarian disaster. But the biggest worry that humanity faces in 2025 is likely to be nature, when a series of climate disasters are predicted to occur and threaten human life. The dry earth will become drier, and suddenly a great flood will come. This is a verse taken from the work Les Prophéties, showing what Nostradamus predicted in 2025. To describe this verse, it can be understood that the already harsh climate situation will get worse. The French prophet predicts that extreme weather phenomena such as record heat, forest fires, droughts, and storms will increasingly occur with greater frequency and intensity. Global warming is a huge phenomenon going on in the modern day. The Bible does not specifically talk about climate change or global warming. However, the Bible does tell us the world will eventually be burned in fire, which could be another way to understand how alarming the Earth's condition will gradually become. 2 Peter 3:10 informs us, "But the day of the Lord will come like a thief. The heavens will disappear with a roar, the elements will be destroyed by fire, and the earth and everything done in it will be laid bare." God will one day erase this current universe and replace it with the new heavens and new earth. How much effort should be made saving a planet that God is eventually going to obliterate and replace with a planet so amazing and wonderful that the current earth pales in comparison? In a world gripped by uncertainty and unrest, the prophecies of Nostradamus have captivated believers and skeptics alike for centuries. Among his many predictions, none are as chilling as those foretelling the end times and the rise of a Middle Eastern Antichrist. With a reputation for accuracy, Nostradamus has unnerved generations with his eerily precise visions of future events. Now, in this article, we delve into the mysterious verses penned by the renowned seer and explore his warnings of cataclysmic events that could reshape our world forever. As we explore the prophecies of Nostradamus, we are confronted with chilling anticipation. How accurate were his visions? How do his predictions align with the current geopolitical landscape? And what do they mean for the future of humanity? From wars and natural disasters to the rise of a leader shrouded in darkness, our journey into the world of Nostradamus promises to be a thought-provoking and unsettling one. Join us as we unravel the cryptic verses and attempt to interpret the fate of our world as predicted by Nostradamus. First, let's understand Nostradamus' predictions about the end times. Nostradamus' predictions about the end times have fascinated scholars and enthusiasts for centuries. He wrote extensively about the events that would lead to the end of the world, using a combination of cryptic language and symbolic imagery. One of his most famous prophecies, known as Century X, Quatrain 72, speaks of a great conflagration that will engulf the world, bringing about the end of civilization as we know it. This verse, along with many others, has sparked intense debate and interpretation among those who study Nostradamus' works. The key to understanding Nostradamus' predictions lies in deciphering his symbolic language. His verses often contain metaphors and allegories that require careful analysis. For example, he frequently refers to the Great King of Terror and the Third Antichrist, which many believe to be references to major world events and influential figures. By studying the historical context and looking for parallels between Nostradamus' words and actual events, researchers have attempted to uncover the true meaning behind his prophetic verses. How about the concept of the Middle Eastern Antichrist in Nostradamus' prophecies? One of the most intriguing aspects of Nostradamus' prophecies is the concept of the Middle Eastern Antichrist. According to his writings, the Antichrist will rise to power in the Middle East, wielding immense influence and causing widespread chaos and destruction. The Antichrist is described as a figure of darkness who will bring about immense suffering and turmoil before ultimately meeting his demise. The idea of a Middle Eastern Antichrist has sparked intense speculation and debate. Some believe that Nostradamus' predictions align with the rise of certain political leaders in the region, while others argue that the concept should be interpreted metaphorically rather than literally. Regardless of the interpretation, the notion of a powerful and malevolent figure emerging from the Middle East continues to capture the imagination of those fascinated by Nostradamus's prophecies. Let's analyzing specific verses and passages related to the end times and the Middle Eastern Antichrist to gain a deeper understanding of Nostradamus' predictions about the end times and the Middle Eastern Antichrist. It is essential to analyze specific verses and passages in his writings. One such verse, Century 4, Quatrain 50, speaks of a great earthquake in the month of May. Some researchers believe that this verse may be a reference to a future earthquake that will strike the Middle East, triggering a chain of events that will lead to the rise of the Antichrist. Number 1. Prince Harry reunion. In his renowned work, Les Prophéties, Nostradamus seemingly forecasted the monarch's downfall, including potential abdication or forced removal. Nostradamus predicted the potential abdication of a king and the rise of an unexpected successor, which now seems to echo the current situation involving King Charles and Prince Harry. The ancient prophet said the King of the Isles would be driven out by force and would be replaced by one who will have no mark of a king. Before that, he accurately predicted Queen Elizabeth II's passing at around the age of 96, a prophecy that aligned with Buckingham Palace's announcement of King Charles III's diagnosis following his mother's demise in 2022. However, the question of how Prince Harry, who has shown little interest in royal duties, would end up as king remains unanswered. The royal family has faced its fair share of scandals in recent years. However, the one that garnered the most headlines and caused papers and tabloids across the world to go nuts was Prince Harry's exit from the royal family and the fallout thereafter. Despite his decision to pull back from his familial duties, many wonder if Prince Harry could still rule as king. As is his birthright, otherwise known as birthright privilege, Prince Harry is fifth in line for the throne. In the instance of Charles's death, Prince William, Charles's firstborn son, is next in line for the throne. If something were to happen to William, Harry still wouldn't be next in line, as that would be William's firstborn Prince George, then Princess Charlotte, and finally Prince Louis. If William were to abdicate, which is highly unlikely, and George was still under 18, then it's a different question. The role of regent means a person who governs a kingdom in the minority, absence, or disability of the sovereign would then perhaps go to Harry until George was old enough to take on his royal duties. Nostradamus predicting Harry would become his successor seems unlikely, but we will never know what will happen after it actually happens. The world should be prepared for a new royal baby and a possible family reunion, according to Gall Eden Sasson, an astrologer. Those are his predictions for the royal family in 2024. This year brings a plethora of retrogrades and some potentially life-disrupting eclipses for everybody, and this includes members of the royal family. Harry's chart is moving into the house of money, talent, and self-worth. It's also going to move into his house of community, marketing, and sales, Mr. Sasson said. As well as having success in his ventures in the new year, the astrology expert also forecasts that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle could have a third child when Jupiter moves into his house. Gall, author of The Astrology of 2023. Traversing the bridge. Movement of the people, said Jupiter, has been in Harry's house and family for the last year, for the first time in River 80 years, which is the planet of unpredictable, crazy energy. After that, there will most likely be a reunion of the royal brothers. The reunion, or patching up, could be between the two brothers, who have become somewhat estranged in recent times. Sasson said Prince William, a Sagittarius Capricorn, was born during a new moon and close to a solar eclipse, which is a pretty powerful sign for a ruler, but it is likely he will be a late bloomer, and things will take time for him. But is this reunion possible? When the king announced that he had cancer, the Duke of Sussex, who withdrew from his role as a senior member of the British royal family, along with Meghan Markle, flew back to England to visit the king. It is known that Harry is also ready to return to temporary missions to support King Charles. However, Prince of Wales, William, who is angered by his younger brother's repeated attacks on the monarchy, is expected to block any attempt by Harry to return to the royal family. Sources close to William say that after King Charles III was diagnosed with cancer, William would take on more duties himself if necessary. The Prince of Wales also thinks Harry and Meghan cannot be trusted. A source close to the matter said it was unlikely William would allow his younger brother to return to royal duties. Whatever was discussed between William and the king was private, but it's clear William won't allow Harry back. William used to think it was a bad idea, and now he's even more clear with that in mind. If anyone is going to take on more duties, it will be William. His focus is on his father's health, his family, and what's best for the monarchy. 0%. It's possible that Harry will return in any capacity, the source said. Previously, in his autobiography Spare, Harry criticized his family, accusing his brother of pushing him into a dog bowl in a fit of rage. He also directed his attacks at his stepmother, Queen Camilla, and sister-in-law, the Princess of Wales. Last year, a book by Omid Scobie, said to be Harry and Meghan's spokesman, sparked controversy over allegations of racism within the British royal family. The two royals are said to have discussed the skin color of the Sussex's son. King Charles believes building bridges with Harry and Meghan will benefit the monarchy, but believes any official role for the Duke of Sussex would be a step backwards. In 2020, when the Sussexes left the royal family to seek financial freedom, the late Queen Elizabeth II refused their request to both perform duties on behalf of the monarchy and be allowed to pursue commercial interests. The British royal family at that time came to an agreement that allowed the Sussexes to seek a new life outside the home, but prohibited them from declaring themselves princes or taking advantage of royal connections for commercial gain. From the above information, do you think it is possible for Harry to reunite with the royal family? The answer is maybe no.